imagine if you were tuning into Aaron's Brekkie show around the end of last year, you would have been nothing but moved by the story of Christine Casanti, a young mum from the Hunter who's cared for almost 50 foster children in the last 4 years. Aaron spoke to her about what it was like fostering so many children and what had prompted her to kind of do it in the first place. Here's a little snippet of Christine reflecting on it.
It was something that he said to me one day. We were having a conversation in the car, and he said, what would happen if a child's mummy and daddy both went to jail? What would happen with the child? And that was a beautiful in to be able to talk to him about what I was already exploring and already training to become. And I said they would go into what's called foster care, and he said, sort of explained that to him, and he said, oh, that's something we should do, Mum. And for me, that was just tick, 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 let's keep going forward.
Well, she did keep going forward, did not Christine Casanti. She has one son of her own, and she's subsequently fostered more than 50 children in the last 4 years. Obviously, she's a woman with a big heart, but she's also responding to a big need in our region, and that's a need for more families to provide accommodation and support, a home for kids who are in need of foster care. All this week we're going to explore the pros and cons, the ins and outs, and why there is a shortage, particularly right here in the Hunter. I want to kick off this morning with a conversation with a young woman who's kindly popped into the studio to tell me her story. Her name's Jasmin. She's 20. She's been in and out of care from the age of 14, finally placed with a foster family at the age of 16. Hey, Jasmin, welcome to 1233.
Hi, how are you?
Have you been into a radio studio before?
No, never.
Does it look anything like what you thought it might be?
Yeah, a bit.
Good. Yeah. Good. What led you to be in care? What was it at the age of 14?
My mother couldn't look after me and meet the best of my needs, and I had a carer come to me and say, we're just going to put you in care for 2 weeks just to give your mother some time, and it turned out to be much longer than that.
How hard was it with Mum?
It was quite hard. I explain it as she treated me like a doll. At one stage she would love me and look after me. At another stage other things were more important, and she would neglect me for a while. She'd go out very late at night and come back early hours in the morning and things like that. So
did you find that you were there on your own and having to literally fend for yourself?
Yes. I kind of relied. My dog was my best companion when I was a child.
How long did that go on for?
Probably till I was 14, until I came into care. Yeah.
From when you were a real little girl, from scratch?
Yep. I remember when I was 6 that my mother said that she just needed to go to work in Sydney overnight, but she'll be back in the morning, and left me home.
And you were 6?
Yep.
Were you scared?
Yeah. I ran to the neighbour's house and she had to come back home.
Did you have a good relationship with your neighbours?
We moved around a lot, but the one that we were there for about 6 years, so it was that particular neighbour. Other than that, not really.
And how did you manage at school, given that, you were living in that kind of, stress, I imagine?
Yeah, I didn't know. I thought it was normal, so I didn't see any different. So, yeah.
And was it just you?
Yeah, just me.
Wow, okay. So did it go on and off like that for all through your schooling life?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. I kind of liked school because I was away from my mother, so...
Did you have fights? Did you end up fighting with your mother, or...?
Yeah, plenty of those. I locked her out of the house once, and she did the same to me, and yeah.
So did you fear for your safety, literally? I mean, was she rough with you, your mum?
Yep. I kind of find that one day she didn't want me to go to school because she thought I needed a day at home, and I really wanted to go to school, so I ran away and went to school.
Because as you said, school was sort of a safe place for you.
Exactly.
Was your mum drinking?
Yeah, she would drink. She would on and off drink, like binge drinking, but she would go to pubs and then take some men home with her, depending, I don't know how it went the night, I guess. And, so some nights she'll come home really drunk, and other nights she'll be home like a normal parent feeding me dinner.
So it was really hot and cold, black and white with Mum.
Yeah.
What was it like having different men coming home with Mum late at night, men you never knew?
Yeah, it was a bit odd. I tried to just keep my distance from both of them and just have my own kind of life, I guess. And some of the men I liked, and I kind of looked at them as a father figure, but yeah, they didn't stay around for too long, so I kind of stopped doing that.
Yeah. Did you have any extended family, any cousins or aunties or uncles that you could, or grandparents that you could lean on?
I did, but they all were scared of my mother, so they kind of kept their distance.
Was she a bit of a rogue, your mum? Was she scary?
Not so scary. She was just kind of, I guess, twisted in the mind. I don't know how to explain her.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, you're 20 now.
Yes.
And you ended up, what, did the authorities come to you or did you go to them? How did somebody, end up suggesting foster care?
Well, I was having some mental health issues and I went to Nexus at John Hunter. I was in there for about 8 weeks and they were speaking to my parents and made a plan of how I would go home. And what happened was the plan didn't go through. Mum dropped me off at home. She first suggested that we should also get some alcohol so that we could celebrate me coming out of Nexus.
Oh, yes.
I was 14. And then
Oh, my God.
I went to school the next day. I wasn't meant to, but I really wanted to because I didn't want to stay home with them. And I had a panic attack and went back into Wyong Hospital where a carer came to me and said, Jasmin, you're just going to stay with us for 2 weeks. And then shortly after, my mother came in and said, look, you've done it now. See you later. You're in Doc's care.
Over and out.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Yeah.
It's been great so long. Thanks for all the
Yeah,
fun
that's
times.
just how she reacts, yeah.
Oh my God, that's incredible. That's a terrible thing to happen to a teenager. What did you feel when she said that to you?
At first, I felt like, where am I going? I don't know what's lying ahead, but the other thought was, I'm kind of happy I'm away from you because you just stress me out too much. I can't
Handle it.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned your dad in there, Jasmin, that your parents had come to the hospital when you were in John Hunter.
Yes.
Okay, where did Dad fit into this difficult world of yours?
Yes. He left when I was 2, and he, when we were together, he was a great father, but he has some alcohol and gambling issues and commitment issues. There was one point when I was about 7 or 8, he said he'll come to my, it was my birthday, and come over and celebrate my birthday with me. And so I sat at the letterbox and he never came. And so he would not commit to things, and so there was a lot of I'll come, and he never does. And as I was a little child, it would have been years that I would not see him, and then I'll see him, and we could just connect as if we never had that time apart. But he wasn't there for me all the time, so I don't really see him as much now.
I often think that thing of parents making promises and not keeping them is one of the hardest things to cope with.
Yeah.
Just sitting there waiting for him to come good and he didn't do it.
Yeah.
So what's your relationship with him now?
I haven't spoken to him for about 2 years. He said he still has the same issue of, he said, I'll call you in 2 weeks. And it's always me who calls back. So I kind of stopped because I don't want to be the parent in the relationship.
It sounds like this has made you a pretty mature woman. You sound pretty steady and confident. Do you feel that this has made you a wise woman, Jasmin?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Wow, it's almost 9:20 on 12:33 ABC Newcastle, kicking off a series of conversations that I want to have here on the program all this week about foster caring. We face a crisis of care here in New South Wales and right here in the Hunter, with more children needing care than there are parents who are prepared to open their homes in some way, big or small, to young people like Jasmin, who at the age of 14 was taken into care and ending up, as I understand it, Jasmin, with a family to care for you, at 16?
Yes, yeah.
Did it take a couple of goes at getting it right?
Yes. I came into care at 14. I was in a refuge till I was 16. And so that was just like a primary carer at a house that cares for you but is paid to care for you, and it's no family orientated or anything.
Were you the only one there in that house?
It was up to 3 children because it was a high intensive refuge. There was less kids in there because I was a runaway and I started to overdose and self-harm just from my experience, and that's how I dealt with my stress. So after that, I moved from there at 16 and went to about 4 different placements on the Central Coast. But I kept running away from them. I didn't want to commit to a family. I felt like I was a burden to them. And I didn't want to hurt anyone else, so I just wanted to keep to myself. And after that process of the last, probably the fourth one, I was with my doc's caseworker at the place, office, and they were ringing up, and no one wanted to take a suicidal 16-year-old. Obviously, that's high maintenance. But there was a family who said yes, and they were in Newcastle, and I've never been to Newcastle, so I was quite frightened. And so we were going up there. I was crying on the way up. I didn't know what was going on, and they left me there. And this family was much different to the other families. I don't know how to explain it. They were just so welcoming, and I didn't feel like a burden. I was just already one of them. And they were already cooking dinner at that stage because it was late in the afternoon when they found them. And so they were cooking dinner, and I could smell like olives, and they're my favourite food. And I was like, I love this family.
Wow, what an amazing coincidence that they were actually including some food that you love in the first meal.
I know, right? Yeah. And so I sat down, they gave me my room, and and then I ate with them, and I just sat and ate dinner with them, and it was just, it's like, wow, I love this atmosphere. I don't want to leave this place.
Were there other children in their house?
No, that was the difference. The other 4 placements had children, and they were already the carer's priority, I thought. I thought I was the second priority. So, when I came to this place, it was their birth daughter that was there that was cooking the dinner, and then there was me. So I was the youngest, where the other placements I was the oldest.
And that makes a difference?
I feel it did make a difference because I had more attention to me, and I kind of liked it.
Wow, you must have been so... I can't imagine what was going on in your mind.
Yep.
But something about this family made you feel a sigh of relief.
Yes, yep.
How long have you stayed? Did you stay with them, or are you still there?
I'm still there. Dad built a unit at the back of the house. It's self-contained. It's got everything, and I live there, so I'm just like 2 steps out the door.
And Dad, the word Dad rolls off your tongue.
It rolls off my tongue. I have a father figure. Yes. He's amazing.
And Mum? You call her Mum?
Yes, I call her Mum. She's amazing. I love her so much. They're both my hero. I look up to them, and they're just amazing role models.
What do you think of their act to, invite you in? I imagine a pretty stroppy, cranky, upset, disturbed teenager.
Well, I don't know. I think they just showed so much love to me, and they gave me so much, I don't know, they had patience, and they knew how I was wired, and they knew how to like unwire me so that I can, be normal and lose my habits of self-harm and things like that. And they didn't hold against my behaviours of what I was. They just looked at what I was, like my potential of what I could be, and they just fostered that.
That's really fostering, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the true definition of the word. Sounds like you've had a pretty good experience. You mentioned that you were overdosing. What were you using?
I would get Panadol because it was the easiest thing to get. I did at one stage, I was a contact visit with my mum, and I stole her blood pressure pills and took all those. But I definitely don't look at that now for relief. More normal now.
What keeps you going? What's your view of life now, and how you're going to sustain yourself?
I would say I'm Christian now, and I believe in God, and I think Jesus keeps me going.
And what about a job?
I work at Woolworths, and I have my Cert 3 in childcare. So now that I like to care for children, like I wanted to be cared for as a child, and I just have that passion to be with them and to work with them. They're fun.
When you look at the parents that looked after you, and you want to sort of stay in childcare and look at other ways of helping so that other kids don't end up as you've ended up, what do you say to parents? Because we've got a real shortage of parents like your family who've taken you in. People sitting on the sort of edge, standing back, going, "Oh no, too hard. I'm too busy." What would you say to families who think, "Oh, maybe"?
I would say it's worth it. But my parents, like, they went through that little bit of struggle with me, but they see the benefit of it, and I know that they wouldn't choose any different.
Yeah.
That it makes them a better person. It makes them feel good, that they're helping someone else. So it's not just you're helping the child, you're also helping you, and you're building your character to be a better person towards children and other people, I think.
Do you see your birth mum at all now?
No, I don't want to.
It's better that way.
Yeah, it is. It's clearer.
It's clearer.
Yeah.
And you've cut it with your dad?
Yeah, yeah.
You feel safer that way?
Yeah, I do. I feel like that, like I've been given this family now, and this is my family.
Do you want to have your own family one day, Jasmin?
Absolutely. I can't wait. I would start now if I could.
You got a boyfriend?
No.
Oh, you're only 20.
Yep.
For those listening on the radio, I can tell you she's absolutely gorgeous, and you've heard what a steady young woman she is. Well, I say hats off to you for turning your life around, and you've said that you owe so much of that to the family that's taken you in, but you must be pretty strong. Do you feel like you're a strong person?
I feel like I had to be strong in the situations I went through, but I'm even stronger now in the sense of if something goes wrong, I don't automatically overdose or run away. I can deal with those issues, and my mum and dad helped me with that. I was supported. I was, I guess, cuddled when I was upset. I didn't run away. I was loved, and that helped me just deal with everything like a normal person. Yeah.
So would you say that the future looks rosy for you? Do you feel optimistic?
Yeah, it's amazing. I look always to the future now, and I know what's happening. I have the support of a family to be behind me every step I go, kind of thing. And it's fun. We have annual holidays. We have my sister's pregnant. She's having a baby soon, and things like that I wouldn't have had before that I can celebrate and enjoy now. And it's amazing. I love it. I'm so grateful.
You're very brave to come in and tell your story. What does it feel like to speak about it publicly?
It doesn't feel very public because it's just in a room. I don't know. I'm a big sharer, so it doesn't really bother me. I'm happy to share my story, and hopefully that will benefit people and help people to want to be carers and help kids that need it like I did.
It's an absolute pleasure to meet you, Jasmin. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Jasmin's her name. She's a 20-year-old woman, kicking off a series that we want to share with you all throughout the week here on 12:33 ABC Newcastle. And if you've got any reflections, we could talk about it right throughout the course of the week. If you're a foster carer, if you've thought about caring for somebody else's kids. Tomorrow, a local carer who's fostered 8 kids over the past 7 years. Hope you can join me.